Well,
good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Monday Night Raw. I'm that barbecue-loving Jim Ross, here at ringside with Jerry the King Lawler. And here comes the big show, the largest athlete in the world. That's a quarter ton of humanity right there, King.
If you say so, but I'm not convinced that the big show's human, JR. He looks like he should be out running around a forest, scaring campers or something.
I wouldn't say that too loud if I was you, King. When you're that big, you don't have to take a lot of baloney from anybody. And here comes the man who is challenged tonight with taking on the big show. It's a tall order for sure, but this is going to be one heck of a match. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I know you're pretty high on this guy. And I've got to admit, he does look impressive. But he's got his work cut out for him tonight.
That's for sure. About 7 feet and over 500 pounds of it. This is Jim Ross here with Jerry the King Lawler, and we welcome you to live Raw action from Providence, Rhode Island.
Can you believe how loud these fans are, JR? They know they're about to see the greatest superstars in sports entertainment.
You're not wrong, King. The Raw superstars never fail to impress, and I can't wait to get started.
I can't believe he countered that one.
He's a slippery devil. This is a classic matchup, King.
Here he goes, up the turnbuckle. This could be really good or really bad.
Boy, what a match. I wouldn't even hazard a guess as to who's going to win this thing.
What? Have you got both your contacts in one eye, JR? It's been obvious to me since the start.
These fans love confidence in their superstar, and that's just what they're seeing.
Here's the pin! Could this be it?
Oh, boy. Excellent count. What ring presence. What a submission hold. Could this be a tap out?
It isn't. The hold can't be broken. You can't take this kind of pain for long. He reversed it. You've got to give Big Show some credit, JR. He's got his opponent in position, JR. This could be it.
Angle slam! Angle slam! He just drove his opponent into the canvas.
He's a 3 count away from a pinfall. Oh, man. That was almost 3, JR.
Can his opponent kick out of this pinning predicament?
This has gone beyond just being flat on your back with your shoulders on the mat is no place to be. Wow! Listen to these fans, JR.
You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all the people some of the time, but there's no fooling the WWE fans at all. No matter how many times I see it, I never get over the size of the Big Show. 7 feet tall, 500 pounds. That's a whole lot of superstar right there.
Oh, he's big, all right, JR. He can't even go to the beach anymore because Greenpeace keeps trying to tow him back into the ocean.
You better hope that the Big Show...
Wow! There's a hole you don't want to find yourself in, JR.
You sure don't, King. We've seen many a superstar tap out to this one.
I'd ask you who you want to win this matchup, JR, but it's been pretty obvious since the start of the show who you're pulling for.
I'm trying to remain as objective as I can, Ken. Quite frankly, I'd rather see a good competitive matchup than see a particular superstar win or lose this thing.
Oh, come on. Everyone knows you play favorites. You're always trying to kiss up to the fans by talking up whoever. He could pin him right here, JR. 1, 2. That was so close to 3, he could taste it. Listen to the crowd, JR. I think they've got something to say to these superstars.
And if they're smart, they'll listen. Remember, without these fans, these superstars are out of a job. He's got that submission hold locked in.
He sure does, JR. He might make his opponent tap out right here.
And there's the submission. There might not be any way out of it.
There better be, but we're going to see a tap out right here.
And now a pin. This could be it.
Look at this, JR. Can you imagine SmackDown putting on a match half as good as this?
No disrespect intended for our SmackDown colleagues, but no, I can't, King. I truly believe Raw is the dominant brand in sports entertainment.
And you hit the nail right on the head there, JR. The dominant brand. Not the slightly better brand or the sort of... Oh, here we go. What a jerk. How about continuing the match?
I don't think he's in any hurry to end this one, King. And I don't think the crowd wants it to end either.
I'm not sure I agree with what the crowd is chanting, JR, but I guess it's their right.
You're damn right it is. It comes with the price of admission.
After some of the things we've seen in this ring, JR, I think we'd better remind the folks at home not to try this stuff themselves.
That's for damn sure, King. The WWE superstars are trained professionals.
And even they don't walk away from every match in the best shape.
They sure don't. We've seen more than one superstar taken out here on a stretcher.
I'll agree with you about the larger part, JR. He's about as wide as he is tall. I'd say he should take up sumo wrestling, but I don't want to see him in a loincloth.
No one's ever going to accuse Big Show of being a pretty little ballerina, King. But I think he's a great deal more agile than you give him credit for.
Well, he couldn't be much less. He's got all the grace of a bull elephant and half the size. It looks like they've slowed the match down a little, and I think that's some good strategy right there.
It certainly is. I'm sure they're well acquainted with it. He's got his opponent in a pinning predicament.
He almost had the 3 count right there, JR. I don't think the fans appreciated that one very much, but I don't think he cares much what the fans think.
That much is obvious, King. What a low-down, despicable move that was. Up the turnbuckle he goes. I hope he knows what he's doing. Sounds like this crowd's got something on their minds, King.
Who cares about them, JR? Look what's going on in the...
He's going up. This could backfire.
I think we're going to find out just how much punishment the human body can withstand here tonight.
I think you're right, King. These superstars seem intent on taking each other to the limit.
Show off all you want, but it's not going to win you the match.
No, but getting the crowd behind you can certainly give you... He's stalking his opponent. You know what comes next.
There it is! The angle slam! I don't believe it!
Looks like he's trying for a pin here.
1, 2, 3. Hey, what do you think they're saying, JR?
I think he impressed the Big Show here tonight.
Look! It's Chavo Guerrero and Daivari, and they're beating Show's head in with lead pipes.
Big Show's too tired. He can't fight them all. What's going on here?
Come on, JR. Don't play dumb. It's obvious. He was in on the plan to jump Big Show all along.
I don't believe that for a second. He looks as confused as I am.
Hey, JR, what's Carlito doing out here?
That's it, Vince. See? I told you guys. As long as the 4 of us stick together, there's nobody on Raw that can stop us. And that's very, very cool.
I don't understand a damn bit of what just happened. We need some answers here, and soon.
The world's largest love machine, Viscera.
And the opponent, from Harlem, New York, weighing in at 487 pounds, Viscera.
Good evening and welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the site of tonight's live Raw event.
And Pittsburgh has gone completely crazy for the superstars of Raw. And who can blame them?
Not me, King. The Steel City's in for a treat tonight, and I can't wait to get started.
His opponent telegraphed that one. I've got to say, JR, I'm really impressed by what we've seen here tonight.
How could you not be, King? These are some of the finest athletes in all of sports entertainment.
I know that, JR. I'm just saying that this has been a great match so far.
It has indeed, King, and I think it's only going to get better from here on out. This is a classic matchup, King. I'm so glad the WWE fans are getting a chance to see it.
Yeah, and I'm happy that I'm getting to see it too, JR. I just wish they'd pick up the pace a little.
Oh, no. This is classic old-school wrestling at its finest.
I don't know if his opponent has what it takes to kick out.
He's a slippery devil. And there's the submission. There might not be any way out of it.
There better be, but we're going to see a tap out right here.
The submission is locked in. This could be huge.
Oh my gosh, JR! You can't go on without tapping out to this.
I think this crowd's giving these superstars a piece of their minds, King.
Are you sure they can afford it, JR?
He's not going to get caught with that one.
You talk about ruthless aggression. Look at the way these superstars have been going after each other.
They're not playing with kid gloves, that's for sure.
We knew we were going to see a heck of a match, but this might turn out to be... No. Go ahead and say it, JR.
All right, I will. I think this one's got all the makings of a bona fide slobber knocker.
Wow! There's a hole you don't want to find yourself in, JR.
You sure don't, King. We've seen many a superstar tap out to this one.
So, how do you think this one's going to turn out, JR?
Honestly, King, I have absolutely no idea. Anything can happen here in the WWE.
Well, you've got to have a guess, right?
I might, but I'd rather keep it to myself. If it's all the same to you, King. I think this crowd has decided to exercise the right of free speech.
God bless the First Amendment, JR. You know, JR, when I saw this match on paper, I wasn't too sure about it. But it's turned out
He's got his opponent in a pinning predicament. 1, 2. Is that? No, only 2.
After some of the things we've seen in this ring, JR, I think we'd better remind the folks at home not to try. He's got his opponent in position, JR. This could be it.
Angle slam! Angle slam! He just drove his opponent into the canvas. 1, 2. Uh-oh. Here comes the big show, and he doesn't look happy.
Well, how happy would you be if you got set up for an ambush by someone you thought you could trust?
It looks like he's trying to calm the big man down, and I'm not sure how well that's going to work.
Don't fall for it, Big Show!
My God! Big Show just chokeslammed him halfway to China.
He probably wishes he was in China right about now. The Big Show is not the kind of man you want to make angry, JR. How the heck is he going to calm down this angry giant?
Hey, what's up, Holmes? Chavo here. I guess you had to learn your lesson the hard way, huh? You think you're going to be able to convince Big Show that you're not with us? You better think again. So what are you gonna do? You wanna team up with us and take him out once and for all?
It's me, Carlito. I just wanted to thank you for all of your help last week. This is Carlito, and you just made the biggest mistake of your career, my friend. Tonight, Davari and Chavo are gonna teach you what happens to anyone who crosses us. Just like your pal Big Show learned 2 weeks ago.
کلپوک من دواریم فکر میکنیم میتونی به من بگین نه اگر شما به بیگ شو فکر میکنی من کارلوس یه چاوو دست بزنی خودت خر خدا هستی
You know, Carlito and Davari and Chavo have been going on and on about strength and numbers, but Big Show's got some pretty impressive numbers all by himself. 7 feet tall and 500 pounds.
You've got that right, King. And I've got to believe that the Big Show can't wait to get those giant mitts of his on Chavo and Davari after all the grief they've given the Big Show.
Well, JR, I have to say that I'm still not convinced that his so-called partner isn't still working with Chavo and Davari behind the scenes. Big Show could be walking right into another trap.
Ooh, Chavo.
And the opponent, from El Paso, Texas, weighing 200 pounds, Chavo Guerrero.
Ooh, Chavo.
From Minneapolis, Minnesota, Davari.
Rush in.
Is that why you always seem to be in such a hurry, JR?
I think I've eaten a little too much good Oklahoma barbecue in my day, King. Look at the confidence radiating off this superstar.
All I see is an overconfident superstar who's throwing away the match by not following up. I'll agree with you about the larger part, JR. He's about as wide as he is tall. I'd say he should take up sumo wrestling, but I don't want to see him in a loincloth.
No one's ever going to accuse Big. He may get the 3 count here. Boy, I tell you, King, this Davari makes me sick. I practically threw a barbecue cookout when he left Raw. I was hoping I'd never have to.
There's the pin! Was that 3? No? Come on!
Boy, when you look at these superstars, it really drives home the fact. Oh, for the love of... Open your eyes, Ref. I can't believe he got away with that.
Well, you might not like it, JR, but he's going to do whatever it takes to win this one. Listen to the crowd, JR. I think they've got something to say to these superstars.
And if they're smart, they'll listen. Remember, without these fans, these superstars are out of a job. This is a classic matchup, King. I'm so glad the WWE fans. He's stalking his opponent. You know what comes next.
There it is! The angle slam! I don't believe it!
Well, as if we weren't already aware, Daivari is sure full of himself.
He's full of something, all right. Oh, boy. I think Daivari's about to get what's coming to him.
And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Oh, my gosh! What a choke slam!
Big Show might have just broken Daivari in half.
I think the Big Show's going to regret that, JR. The rest of Carlito's posse isn't going to take too kindly to that.
I spit in the face.
You know, I'm glad to see that there's some sense of camaraderie here on Raw, and that Carlito and Chavo are standing up for their friend. That's very cool in my book.
I think your book might be missing a few pages, King. It was Big Show who injured Daivari, and he's not even involved in this match tonight.
Look, JR, Carlito's grieving right now. And I have to say, I think it's pretty tasteless of you to question his motives when he's still so upset about Daivari.
I spit in the face of big.
Boy, I'll bet he's starting to think that he's backed the wrong horse. Choosing Big Show over Carlito's crew sure has put him in a tough spot tonight.
Well, tough or not, I'm sure he has no regrets about his choice of allies. I have to believe that he'd rather back a thoroughbred like the Big Show rather than a bunch of jackasses like Carlito, Chavo, and Daivari. He may... Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Raw, live tonight from Las Vegas, Nevada. Jim Ross here with Jerry the King Lawler.
I'll tell you, JR, if I were a gambling man, I'd bet everything I own that this was going to be one of the best Raws ever.
I wouldn't bet against it, King. I know what's on the schedule, and let me just say that these fans have hit the jackpot tonight.
I don't understand why you like Carlito so much, JR. What, did he lie to you and tell you that you were cool or something?
I've never been accused of being cool by Carlito or anyone else, King. Quite frankly, I'm not sure I'd know cool if it bit me on my Oklahoma Sooner backside.
You gotta respect the commitment and the dedication of these superstars to their careers.
No question about it, King. Every superstar on the roster has had to make more sacrifices than any other professional athlete I know.
It really is like being married to your career. There's not much room for anything else.
And marriage is a subject which you happen to be something of an authority. Isn't that right, King?
Come on now, JR. A man doesn't know what true happiness is until he's married. He's a 3 count away from a pinfall. Everyone says they can't take their eyes off Chavo, JR, and neither can I. It's a good way to wind up having something stolen.
I beg to differ, King. I think Chavo's lying, cheating, and stealing days are long behind him. He's upholding a different sort of family. And there's the tag.
This match has the potential to be an instant classic, and I think these fans are too stupid to realize it.
How can you say that, King? How can you insult the intelligence of these WWE fans?
Well, I heard that we gave them an IQ test, and the results came back negative.
Folks, I've got to apologize for the King here tonight. He must have gotten up on the wrong side of somebody else's bed this morning.
There's the reversal. He reversed it.
I've had many opportunities to see Carlito up close and in person. And I have to tell you, I'm impressed with what this kid brings to the table.
What's that exactly? A bunch of half-chewed apples? What's so cool about that? Was a smart tag, JR. Oh boy, these fans have got something on their minds, JR.
Well, they paid.
Watch out! He reversed it!
Excellent counter. What ring presence.
like they've slowed the match down a little. And I think that's some good strategy right there.
It certainly is. I'm sure they're well acquainted with the old expression, fools rush in.
Is that why you always seem to be in such a hurry, JR?
I think I've eaten a little too much good Oklahoma barbecue in my day, King, to hurry anywhere. He's stalking his opponent. You know what comes next.
There it is! The angle slam! I don't believe it! I can't believe he countered that one! After some of the things we've seen in this ring, JR, I think we'd better remind the folks at home not to try this stuff themselves.
That's for damn sure, King. The WWE superstars are trained professionals.
And even they don't walk away from every match in the best shape.
They sure don't. We've seen more than one superstar taken out here on a stretcher. I think this crowd's giving these superstars a piece of their minds, King.
I think that's a tag. This is going beyond just being a match, JR. I think these superstars genuinely hate each other.
There's no love lost between these competitors, that's for sure. If looks, and now a pin! This could be it!
Did you ever think you'd be watching these superstars compete against each other here tonight, JR?
I had a feeling their paths are going to cross sooner or later. I'm glad I'm here to see it.
Me too. It almost makes it worth having to sit next to you and listen to those corny expressions of yours. What the heck is a government mule anyway?
It's what you get beat like. We're in the middle of a slumber knock. And if you don't have the guts to stick around, you might run like a scalded dog with a case of the liver tape.
All right, enough! I'm getting a translator before I have to come out here with you again. I think these superstars are getting some feedback from the crowd, JR.
Nothing wrong with that, Pete. That's what we like to hear.
Chavo's always talking. He's got his opponent in position, JR. This could be it.
Angle slam! Angle slam! He just drove his opponent into the canvas. Can his opponent kick out of this pinning predicament? What a sickening display!
Oh, man, they better run!
Hey, Carlito, Chavo. Next week on Raw, we have a no DQ tornado tag team match to settle this once and for all.
Wait, Big Show can't just make a match like that. That's management's job.
I don't think there's any way management would pass up an opportunity for a match like this, King. This one's got dollar signs written all over it.